The morning of March 22, 2014, dawned clear and cool in Oso, Washington. The sun rose gently over the horizon, casting a golden hue over the small town. The small rural community nestled in the Stillaguamish River Valley was quiet. Residents went about their morning routines, unaware of the impending disaster. Birds chirped in the trees, their songs filling the crisp morning air. Families were starting their weekends, children played in their yards, and neighbors greeted each other with smiles. It was a picture of serenity. No one could have imagined the horror that was about to unfold. The peace was shattered at 10:37 a.m. when the ground began to tremble. A massive wall of mud and debris, carrying trees and boulders, roared down the hillside with a deafening sound. The landslide, traveling at an estimated 60 miles per hour, slammed into the Steelhead Haven neighborhood with unstoppable force. Homes were instantly crushed and swept away, leaving nothing but devastation in their wake. The force of the slide was so powerful that it sent a wave of mud and debris across the valley, damming the Stillaguamish River and altering the landscape forever. Days of heavy rain had saturated the ground, making the hillside above Oso unstable and prone to disaster. Geologists had warned of the potential for landslides in the area for years. The slope had slid before, earning it the nickname Slide Hill, a name that hinted at its dangerous history. But the scale of this landslide was unprecedented, far beyond what anyone had imagined. The mudslide traveled over a mile, carving a path of destruction, burying an area 1 square mile in size, engulfing everything in its path. The once picturesque landscape was transformed into a wasteland of mud, trees, and debris, a scene of utter devastation. The depth of the mud in some areas reached up to 40 feet, making rescue efforts extremely difficult. The slide was so powerful that it registered as a 2.8 magnitude earthquake, shaking the ground violently. The devastation was widespread and immediate, leaving the community in shock and despair. The Oso Mudslide claimed the lives of 43 people, forever changing the small community. Among the victims were families in their homes, children playing outside, and people driving along the highway. The sheer scale of the tragedy left the nation in shock. The impact area was a scene of unimaginable destruction. Homes were reduced to rubble, their foundations ripped apart. Cars were tossed about like toys. The mud was thick and heavy, making it impossible for anyone caught in its path to escape. The search for survivors began immediately, but hope dwindled with each passing hour. Despite the overwhelming odds, first responders and volunteers rushed to Oso to help. The scene was chaotic, with people arriving from all directions, determined to make a difference. They came from neighboring towns across the state and even from other parts of the country. The sense of community and solidarity was palpable as everyone united for a common cause. Firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and everyday citizens worked tirelessly, digging through the mud and debris with their bare hands. Their determination was unwavering, even as exhaustion set in. The rescue efforts were hampered by the dangerous and unstable conditions. The ground was treacherous, making every step a potential hazard. The mud was like quicksand, threatening to swallow anyone who dared to venture into it. Rescuers had to be extremely cautious, knowing that one wrong move could be fatal. The risk of further slides was ever present. The unstable hillside loomed ominously, a constant reminder of the dangers they faced. But the rescuers pressed on, driven by the faintest glimmer of hope that they might find survivors. Their teamwork and resilience were inspiring, showcasing the best of humanity in the face of adversity. A community rebuilds. The Oso Mudslide was a tragedy that tested the human spirit, but amidst the devastation, the community's resilience shone through. Neighbors helped neighbors. Strangers comforted strangers. Donations poured in from across the country. Slowly, painfully, the community began to rebuild. The healing process was long and arduous. The emotional scars of that day ran deep. But the people of Oso refused to be defined by the tragedy. They drew strength from each other, finding solace in their shared grief and determination. Searching for answers. In the aftermath of the Oso Mudslide, there were many questions. Why did the slide happen when and where it did? Could it have been prevented? What lessons could be learned to prevent future tragedies? Investigations revealed that a combination of factors contributed to the slide, including the area's geology, heavy rainfall, and logging practices. The disaster prompted a re-evaluation of building codes and land use policies in landslide-prone areas. The search for answers continues, driven by a desire to honor the memory of those lost and to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again.